We are live, Facebook Live. So I'm just going to keep talking because the point of this isn't really for people to tune in live, though some of that will be happening. The point of this today is to put into practice what we're going to tell you about today. At CTC, one of the things that we're always trying to figure out is what is the best way to leverage influencers? What mechanisms, what ad products, what audiences are most valuable for our clients? And so today we're going to tell you one of the things that has been most effective for us in the use of influencers. And people sometimes ask me why we sort of just tell you everything that we're doing here at CTC on this. And the reality is that our hope is that we can provide individuals something helpful, and that you'll see and understand that we're experts here and are going to be continuing to find ways to be successful for our clients. So our hope is that you are taking this and using it, and it's helping your business grow with CTC or without. So influencers. So a common practice has been to try and find influencers, whether on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and pay them for posts, right? The pay for post model has been around for a while now, and it's sort of what you're doing is you're buying access to audience, right? So an influencer, what they represent is authority within a given group of people. However many millions or thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers that they have, they inevitably have some sort of credibility with those people because they've opted into following them. So by utilizing them as an access point to a large group of people, you're gaining access to an audience, right? And so you can run, whether it's a CPM calculation or try and get some engagement metrics to determine what is the value of you paying for someone to post on your behalf. But one of the limitations of the pay for post model is that content in a feed environment disappears so quickly. So you maybe will see traffic boosts for 24 to 48 hours depending on sort of the life cycle of each platform and how long that content remains in people's news feeds. Facebook will do a little bit better job in their algorithm regurgitating that content versus Instagram. It truly is there and then gone. And then same thing with Twitter. But so for us, we've always seen the pay for post model as being sort of a limited access point to influencers. The other thing is that organic reach within these platforms has continued to decrease as they're incentivized to drive advertisers and pay for play models. So in finding ways to bypass that, one of the things that we're always looking for is how do we create evergreen assets where we can access both their audience and then leverage the content to distribute to audiences that we hand select. So a big way that we're doing that today is by the utilization of Facebook Live. So Facebook Live, one of the important things to remember is to always try and align yourself with the interests of the platform that you're playing on. So Facebook, for those of you that follow Facebook or follow CTC, know that they have a few things that they're really invested in making successful. The first is video. We've talked a lot about that here at CTC and in our content. The second is Messenger. So I don't know how many of you are playing around with Messenger ads or that Messenger for customer service, but Messenger is a huge platform for Facebook into the future. Our theory is sort of that it will become a replacement for almost all email or customer service into the future for a lot of brands because of the capacity to build and integrate apps and bots and different things on that platform. And then the third is live video. So live video is a big incentive for Facebook. If you think about why, if you follow the same sort of mechanisms that happened in advertising on television, where what you had was people used to sit and watch TV because there was very few channels, so they would stay on a small subset of channels and then they would watch the content all the way through without flipping through the channels because you had to get up and change the knob on the dial, right? So in that environment, TV commercials, in between the content you were watching, people sat and watched the whole thing. So you had a very captive audience, you had a really hot product, and then you had then came lots of channel options, right? The breadth of content options expanded. So the commercials began to be diminished because people, when a commercial came on, would flip to different alternative options as the remote control came into play. Then you got to DVR, where DVR, we were actually recording content and then rewatching it and fast forwarding through the commercials. So the commercials became diminished again. And then ultimately we get to a streaming environment where people are just hand selecting content that has no commercials at all and paying for subscription and access to that content. So TV sort of went through this life cycle of advertising, have a lot of value and diminishing down. Well, if you think of online content, the process is sort of the same, where initially you had these very few access to content channels. Maybe YouTube was a prime source in the early days of access to video content. And now you have this broad proliferation of a ton of video content that can be watched either on demand or on in-feed consumption. And so pre-roll sort of became, or mid-roll ad products became a big piece of the way people engaged. And so now that's sort of been reduced in value and the amount of consumption is sort of diminished in quality there. And so similar to the way that the last remaining ad product that became valuable on television was live TV, sporting events, stuff that you had to watch live that you couldn't change the channel from, and that became sort of the mecca of ad value. The same is going to ultimately be true on the internet. So Facebook Live and live content, and you see now stories of Facebook doing, making big bids for the World Cup and, for more NFL content, and Twitter is streaming Thursday Night Football, and these these content properties that people are going to tune into that ultimately become vehicles for ad sales. So if you can understand and connect to the fact that Facebook Live is a very important property for Facebook into the future, then you as an advertiser can say and understand why when you go live on Facebook, you get much more reach, you get broader distribution, you get greater content views organically than almost any other post that you create. So for us, what that means is that when we have an ambassador, and the other thing that it does, before I move on to that, is that you end up with a video asset. When I'm done recording this, it's not like Snapchat, it's not ephemeral, it doesn't disappear. Instead, what I have is about a 10-minute video asset that then I can go edit, recreate, and distribute for other channels. So I've gotten access to a broader reach through the live audience, and then I've distributed it post live into an environment, edited and cut down in formats that I want to use for other channels. So if you think about that similarly, if you're going to go to an ambassador and you're going to say, hey, I want you to create content, what you want to think about is what is the ad product that's going to give you the most organic reach into the audience of theirs that you want to access. Right now that's Facebook Live, right? And Instagram. Those are probably the two strongest organic reach platforms. And then how do you end up with an asset that you can then take and redistribute through your own paid channels, to your own customers, to other people that are fans of that ambassador or similar audiences that you can target within Facebook. So, and then the third thing that you get is you can actually share the audience of video viewers with your ad account and then advertise to people who watch the video. So you get live access to their audience through the most powerful and largest organic reach of Facebook Live. You get access to an audience of video viewers that then you can advertise to, and you get a content asset. So this is an incredibly powerful way to say to an ambassador, hey, go sit on your couch, go live with your fans, speak authentically to them in organic fashion, and then we'll take that asset and we'll distribute it to our fans on the other side. So Facebook Live has been a huge piece of how we're engaging with ambassadors here at CTC. Some great examples of people that you'll see. If you read our blog with Carrie Walsh for Father's Day, what we did with Carrie is we had her go live and give about 8 recommendations for Father's Day gifts that she loves, that she would consider for her husband. And she just went through each product at about a minute on each product. And then that allowed us to create cut downs of each of those segments to give to the individual brands to then run as ads on their own. So you have Carrie who creates one great piece of 8-minute content that then gets distributed to 8 different brands that look like she's created personal content on their behalf. And then they all get to remarket to the audience of viewers. So really powerful product. And there's some influencers that are doing really cool things. Tim Kennedy is a UFC, former Navy SEAL, UFC fighter. I guess once you're a SEAL, always a SEAL. So Navy SEAL. And what he does is every time he's about to go on one of his crazy expeditions or treks, he schedules a Facebook Live to go through his entire packing guide. So he'll say, hey, I'm going to take you through everything that I'm bringing on this adventure, the clothes, the equipment, the gear, the food. And he just walks you through product by product. And it's about a 30-minute Facebook Live, incredible content, gets hundreds of thousands of views. And then great opportunities to clip that content down to highlight and focus on specific products. So if you're interested in the influencer game, I would recommend trying to go beyond the pay-for-post model and instead try and engage with influencers around Facebook Live. Great ad product. Enjoy.